copy, so I'm good on this, on that front. Yeah, so how about we start, what do you guys think? Why are you here? What's the point? What drives, this is probably a different session from what usually CodeCamp offers, tech stuff and coding. What exactly brought you here? And actually, let's set some ground rules. Let's keep the answers to like 5 seconds. Let's see if that works. So try to be as precise as possible. Just keywords. Don't go into a long diatribe about something. Just keywords. So what brings you here? 2 words.
My name's Rich. I'm a consultant in software testing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm part-time on various different projects, and that can get overwhelming with just too many things going on. I'd like to get better control.
Oh, very good. Thank you. So too many things. Anybody else? Why they're here? What are you guys expecting from this session? Actually, I'll ask you to rate it afterwards. Thumbs up or down. Yes.
For me, just different techniques to be used.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Yes?
I'm in marketing communications, so I'm not at all at a tech company, but I don't do code stuff, so I'd like to check out the
Non-tech stuff. Okay,
yeah.
very good. Well,
It keeps the tied in.
Right. So yeah, very good. So feel comfortable to participate. Any question is okay, as long as it's 5 seconds long. In fact, yeah, feel free to interrupt me at any point if you want to chime in or welcome, or ask for clarification. Or English is not my native language. If you haven't noticed yet, in fact, I haven't spoken a word of English until I was 16. So let me tell you my age, I guess, a little bit. So
Older than 16.
older than 60, that's for sure, yeah. So 2 minutes to go. Yeah, so I'm still kind of trying to optimize my presentation skills a little bit. So yeah, feel free to correct me if I'll say try to work on my diction in the meantime. All right, I guess we're almost done, or almost 9:43. 2 more minutes, see if there's anybody else coming. Yeah, the new people who just arrived, a quick intro. So it's going to be very interactive, very sort of hands-on session. Try to ask as many questions, put any comments. I'm sure all of us combined in the room have a lot more knowledge than any big time management expert or goal management expert. So feel free to share any points you've learned in your careers. That'd be very, very helpful to others. All right, I guess nobody else is coming. We have 1 minute to go. So total life management, maximize your life, your performance. So why are we here? Right, what? Okay, sorry. We kind of jumping the gun here. So welcome. So why are we here? For me, one of the worst things I see is people underutilize their talents, and they kind of work below their level. They don't understand what the problem is. They waste health, productivity, and they're not happy overall. So, and they cannot afford. So it's kind of a catch-22. They cannot afford to hire somebody who mentor to help them see the problem, and they're sort of in this loop. So I think the solution would actually be. Did I press the wrong button? There we go. So what we're going to do is learn to break life into smaller pieces. So if a lot of you seem overwhelmed by different things, that's exactly what we're going to look at. How to structure it and how to put it in. Getting things done actually starts talking about this. But we're going to take a few steps deeper than actually start much earlier than getting things done, and you will see why. So we'll set life and performance goals and collect data, and that's very important. So once you collect data, you have enough points to correlate and see what works, because everybody is different. What works for some people may not work for others. So correlate and improve in your personal data set. That's the key. And you're a master of your destiny. So I'm going to show you some tools. I've actually been dabbling in time management, goal setting, because I feel like I constantly underperform. We have 100 billion neurons in our brains, and we probably don't use them all to the maximum extent. So I've been kind of playing around with this thing. Went as far as develop with my company, develop a web-based suite of tools that help you to sort of break things into goals and knowledge management. We'll talk about that later if you like. So bottom line up front, let's, before I was, try to ease people into goal management by looking at the classic solutions, and now let's try the opposite. Let's tell you the hard facts up front so you have a good understanding what this idea is. And in fact, it's not that difficult. There's a couple of important points to keep in mind, and then we'll kind of see the implications of that, because the stuff is very powerful once you use it properly. All right, any questions? And as I said, please feel free to interrupt me. Questions, comments, share your points of view. We'll have a longer time for discussion afterwards, but now, as long as your question is 5 seconds or less, feel free to. That's perfectly fine. It'd be actually more. So I want to make it as interactive as high energy session as possible. Yes.
How long have you been personally interested in time management?
About 10 years, 10, 15 years, probably when I started my company back in Germany, 2003. That was always concerned. Yes. Oh, you did? Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah. So that's what I can. So that's, I guess, quick sessions anytime, and we'll do some brainstorming. We'll set up TLM, Total Life Management for John Doe or Jane Doe. We're gonna look at some tricks, optimizations, and a bunch of tools. I have a whole list of software you can play around with. All right. So let's dive right in. What is a goal? Goal in the most basic definition is a unit of achievement. So it's something you say, okay, I'm gonna, finish this website. So the goal would be create a website, or by next Thursday at 2 p.m. And it's got some crucial attributes. So name, deadline. So it has to be has to have a deadline. Has to have priority. We'll look at it in details. And the way you set goals, you make sure they are measurable. So you know if you reach them or not. You're halfway through, so it's important to set the metrics there. Inspiring. If you delegate, and I'll challenge you to delegate as many goals as you can. You don't have to be a project manager to have people to delegate goals to. You have a bunch of friends, so you can trade favors and so on. So how about we come up with a few goals now? What do you guys think? I have this nifty little thing that I can write with. Let's see. There we go. Can you see that? Okay, so let's pick a few goals. What do you want to achieve today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year? Anybody?
Be more fit.
Okay. So let's look at that. Fit. Fitness. Anybody else? Hey, come on, guys. You didn't have your coffee yet?
Get a job. Yeah, get a better
Get a job. Okay, there we go. All right. Anybody else? We need about 10 of them. Maybe 10 of them. 5, 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about start a business?
Very good. Okay. Okay. What else?
Save money for college,
Very good.
kids' college.
College. Money. College is not spelled right.
No G.
That's it.
Good morning. There we go. Good morning. College money. Any goals you have that you want to reach? I put you on a spot. We need 2 more goals, or yeah, as many as possible. Any more goals? Yes.
Maybe like learn a topic or a subject, learn Java.
Okay, Java. Yeah. Okay. I guess it's good enough. Anybody else?
I'd like to learn to play the piano.
Piano. Very good. Yeah. Perfect. So actually, this is a very very nice set of goals. We have different types. We have different. We'll look at that. Okay, let's go back to our slides. So let's look at the goals more in detail. So we have one of the attributes or properties of a goal for you programmer types is a time frame. So you got to be able to set, and most people, oh, I think I missed 5 years. So most people, or most books, and most class books stop at about 5 years. I sort of figured that 10-year is you got to have a long-term goals and very long-term goals. Long-term are usually 1 to 5 years. I'd like to start from the top, so daily, weekly, month, quarterly, year, 10 years, and then you have priorities. So A, B, C, D, and I challenge you to every goal any goal you define, you set for yourself, define priority, because that's gonna affect how your attitude will be to that goal. It's gonna affect your satisfaction from achieving that goal overall, and you're gonna think about whether this goal is worth achieving. So, for example, priority D, not important, not urgent. It's something that you'll probably never get to, so you might as well just drop it. You know, there's some people that like to have too many irons in the fire, and that they kind of what's the word? That their attention is sort of sprayed in all kinds of directions, and so yeah, important, urgent. Priority A is important, urgent. You know, don't think about anything else. Just drop everything, work on that goal. That's both important and urgent. B is important and not urgent. You can leave it for later once your A priorities are done. C, not important and urgent. Depending on the goal, you might if you really have nothing else to do, you might want to look at that. D, it's not really nothing to worry about. All right, some more stuff, some more goal parameters. So goal types, very important. There have been 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Classically, there's been 7 so-called sports of life, and the theory is, and this comes from research that a couple of people done at IBM back in 70s and 80s, I think. They say the more time you spend in each port, with each goal type, the more rounded and well-rounded and happy person you will be in the end. I add one more goal type to that, which is corporate, which is your goals. It's the goals that you work for. That you work for a company, or you have your own business. That's going to be your job goals, your corporate goals. And we'll look at that. The whole project management actually revolves around corporate goals normally. So you have so in fact the corporate project, the work goals are just a small subset of the TLM, Total Life Management System. And status. Yes, any questions so far?
How does corporate compare to career?
Yes, very good question. Thank you. So corporate are the goals for the company you work for. Let's say I work for IBM. They want to ship Big Blue to some big customer next month. So I'm working on that. Career goals are my goals for my career. Let's say I want to become a top programmer in my field. It doesn't have to be with IBM. It can be with any other company. So my goal is to, place myself in the position to become the best programmer in C++, for example. So I can go to Google. It doesn't have to be. So corporate is where you work right now. Career is maybe you shouldn't be doing programming at all. Maybe you should write a book instead or something. So that's your career. What do you want to do with your career in general? Yes. Any more? No? Nobody? Okay. Goal status. So we have near term, future to complete, delayed, blah, blah. That will come automatically as you work on the goals. You'll see this is completed, this is delayed. These are near term. Near term usually are daily to weekly goals and so on. And delegated too, as we talked about, is very important. Delegate as much stuff as possible. Some people are better than you at something, so let them shine, and you'll owe them, and they'll ask you to, even if you're not project manager, you still have plenty of people you can delegate, your friends, and they will, and it's a nice way to build sort of mutually beneficial relations. So if you're good at, let's say I'm good at programming, but somebody's great at writing technical stuff, I'll ask them to write something for me. I'll program a website for them to pay back in return. So, all right, let's go back to our goals now that you wrote, and see if we can improve those goals based on what we've just learned. So fitness, right? So we want to have, let's go one by one. So what do you think is missing from this goal based on the parameters or the, remember we talked about deadline, measurability, attainability. How can we make that a better goal? Delegation, yes?
Define what is meant by better fitness.
Exactly. How do you measure? Yeah. You want to improve fitness. Yeah. So how?
Is it more, I want to be able to run faster, I want to have more, be able to do X number of push-ups?
Right, exactly. And the X number is the key here. What is going to, how do we know that we reached the goal? Is that you're going to do 5 push-ups instead of, 1, or is it 50 push-ups? So that's, okay, so how would you define the new, or improve the goal? So it's basically just adding those characteristics to the fitness, right? So should we say for measurability, what parameter can we, what number can we stick in there so we know if we reach it? Yes.
I have a quick question real quick.
Okay.
On fitness especially, that's one of those things that you don't just like get to and then you're done.
Right.
Because if you stop doing the things that get you that goal, then you're going to get back into the position you were in.
Right.
So how do you make goals that are more ongoing?
That's a very good question. That's where you set long-term goals. This might be a shorter-term goal, maybe a week, a month, a year. We'll look at, we're going to have 10-year goals. So once you achieve a goal, you set a new goal, or you have in fact, let's take a look at this diagram. So we're jumping ahead a little bit of time, but let's say this is your goal 1, and then you have basically this goal tree structure, right?
Okay.
So your fitness goal is maybe this one.
Gotcha.
And then once you finish this, then you have, this goal to work on. Or maybe you have another goal in between here. This would be 10 push-ups, this would be 100 push-ups. So you keep on going towards this big goal, maybe 10-year goal.
What if you had a goal that was like, I want to run 3 days a week? is that missing? Because it's,
Yes,
you know,
it is missing. What is it? Okay, good question. What attributes is this goal missing?
if you just said, I wanna run 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You
Remember-
sort of can add like, like either your pace or your endurance or your time, sort of
Right.
Put something measurable around that running a 3
Well,
days.
3 days a week is kind of that he does. Yeah.
Distance or
Well, how
time.
many miles? Yeah, yeah. But I'm talking about deadline. When do you want to reach that? Tomorrow or in 10 years? So I think the deadline is in fact, yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll have a little tidbit on. Anybody else? Any question? All right. Yeah, so fitness. What should we say about fitness? 100 push-ups? It's 100 to 20 is about normal, right?
5 too many.
5 to
It
many.
depends on how much time.
That's right.
100 push-ups in a day.
Or let's say 10 push-ups by when? What's the deadline? Tomorrow?
End of the month.
In a month. So in a month, we'll have some, November. November 2015. Very good. Okay. Job. Same thing with job, right? Who had a job? How would you improve your job? Goal.
But I think that one is again one you have to kind of break down. There's a lot of steps before you get the.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we'll look at it, we're kind of practicing the goal parameter, goal attributes.
So maybe like your first step would just be like update resume or create LinkedIn profile or
Yeah.
something.
We'll talk about the sub goals later. Right now, we'll probably just say job will be, I want to get.
Get jobs by.
Good job will also have to be defined. IT project management, right, by November.
That's ambitious.
Well, ambition is all you've got.
Job hunt.
Ambition is all you've got in some cases. All right, learn Java, the same thing, right? How do you know you learned Java or not? A better way of wording it would be pass whatever Java test is you're going to choose, or security or whatever, by college money, same thing. How much money, which college, I guess how much money, right, by when. Anyway, you get the idea. Piano, and let's see. Another very important goal parameter or attribute of a goal is a type. We have job, which is career, right? Spell career. Anyway, fitness is health. Have we talked about this or no? Goal types. Yes, we did. There we go. So 7, 8 goal types. Fitness, college money is, I don't know, what is college money? Family, there we go. Thank you. Start a business, career, right? Learn Java, self-development. Piano, hobbies, there you go.
Self-development.
Yeah, more of a hobby. Depends. Could be career.
Could be both.
Could be both. In fact, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And in this slide, tricks. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Grand plan. Of course, once you got those goals, and the way to organize them is to start from the back. Start from the longest goal you want. You have, which is 10 years. What do you want to do in all these 7 or 8 goal types? What's going to be your health goal for 10 years, right? What's going to be your family goal in 10 years? And then work backwards. And then it becomes very easy. Your health goal would be maybe run a marathon in 10 years or something, or I don't know, stay in be able to pass whatever astronaut testing or jet fighter pilot, or the Navy SEAL, whatever test they have. So you want to reach that, and then from there you break it down into sort of smaller chunks and say, 5 years would be past whatever other test, which is smaller and backward, and then 1 year, quarter, and so on and so forth, and you get goal tree structure like this, which allows you to really visualize why you're doing this. And for example, you're stuck on this goal, and that happens very often in many companies, especially those who have many different levels of management. The guys on the bottom have no idea why they're working on this project. That's a sure way to get to lose motivation, and you have no clue why the guy up front tells you to. But if you had a clue, or maybe they could show you something like this, because we want to beat the big blue in 10 years, and you're going to be in the forefront, you're going to be one of the 5 developers. Yes, please, come in. Okay. One of the 5 developers that helped program the the Watson machine or something. You're going to get a lot of recognition, and I bet that guy would actually like that. He would work much harder. So longest term first. Priority. A priority goals usually are, you heard of 80-20 rule, right? So I would say not even 20%, 15% or less. So 15% of your goals should, the A priority, everybody thinks that every goal is very important. Most of the goals are A. In fact, they're only 15, 10 to 20. 20 would be really pushing it, but 20% is max. Don't have more than 20% of your goals be a priority. If they are, you're probably doing 5 different jobs, and should be. You should not be doing that, because you might have not enough time for other goals, for other goal types. And delegate trade favors, as we talked about. Yeah. So. 1 goal to support 2, so let's see. Let's go back to our little diagram here. So, the trick, so now that we have the goals, and we stack them in this diagram, right, and this would be, let's say this is my health. And then I have another branch with just career. Kind of goes the same, sort of, and then there's maybe another branch. So one of the tricks that I like to pull off is to see what goals I can create here in the bottom that contribute to more than one goal on top, right? So let's say I want to go and so career would be, for example, get a coach job at a basketball team, right? And my health, goal would be to spend, 5 hours on the fresh air, 5 hours outside by November. So if I apply to these, if I structure my goals in such a way that they support more than one upper level goals, then it's a huge optimization, right? And actually a lot of fun to play around with these goals and see what can I do 3 goals with 1 or 4, right? Should we play this game? Can you think of any other? What is some of the stuff that we can do to support 3 or 4 goal types? Like you do one thing, and then your career is taking care of your your family goals are taken care of, like your health is taken care of. You just do one thing, it's all done. Anybody? So a couple of years ago, I went to Hawaii for a month. I got a really cheap ticket round trip, $250 round trip. And I said, well, I have a business consultancy, software development. It'd be great to have some new customers. So I wanted to have five customers in Hawaii. So that's going to be corporate goals, right? Get new customers. Secondly, I really like hiking. And Hawaii is like the best place to, I mean, I never seen any better trails anywhere else in Hawaii. So so that's health. Then I started to make that hiking thing even more fun. I started a meetup group called Walking Innovators Hawaii. Walking Innovators, the idea was that we combine brainstorming with kind of hikes with intellectually stimulating talks and brainstorming sort of in a small group. So you get two things at the same. So that was community, right? You meet new people. You kind of and I met a bunch of entrepreneurs in Hawaii. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so you can, and there are a couple of other goals. Friends, family. You could actually go as far as to say, oh, maybe I went to some dating and did some dating in Hawaii to take the third or fourth goal type from that. So it's always very smart to, you get the idea, to get to reach, yes?
You have one goal that, a goal that needs more than, or that supports more than one category.
Yes.
Do you let that influence the priority level?
That's a good question. I guess the priority will be
So
per category.
It could be like a pretty low importance and urgency goal, but if it supports, career and health and hobbies and
Right.
development and whatever, and family and community, let's say, it hits a bunch of those different categories, does that inherently
I think it does.
have it raise its priority?
Yeah, I think it does. In fact, however, I would challenge to set separate priorities for each type, for each category that this. So if you're applying this to career, what's the career? Is it A in career or B, priority B in career? And you sort of work. Haven't thought of that.
So like you started a hiking meetup
Right.
to support your outside goal. Well, hiking meetup, satisfies, maybe you're using it to meet people and create friendships, you're
Right.
building community, you're improving your health.
Getting new
You're doing some
customers.
self-development with that maybe.
Right.
And, as for each category, it could be like
B, but that's-
non-urgent, not
Right.
the most important thing in your life, but when you combine it all, it starts becoming more important because it does hit so many.
Right.
So would you elevate it to like priority B as an overall goal? Instead of
I
like a
think so.
priority D?
Yeah. No, definitely B. Yeah. I think the more. Yes, I think it would be at least B. Unless you have something, there's some urgent. So importance. This would be pretty high on the importance scale, right? But urgency probably not as urgent. So in order to get the A, you would have to have a goal that's both urgent and important. So yeah, I would definitely give it a B, especially. Yeah, and the more, as you said, the more categories it fits in, the higher the priority. So yeah, because you can, doing one thing, you could score. Your chances of scoring, reaching that goal, increase the more categories you have, right? So you just have to do one thing. All right. Let's see what else we've got here. Yeah. Turning into knowledge management. That's a key. Now, if you realize this, this is a very powerful structure. So you start with a goal. So not only that you have an overview of what your life is going to look like, and it's free. Feel free to change it, mold it. In fact, if you don't change your goals, there's something wrong. You should always respond to new information coming in, and I hear it all the time. If I have goals, I'm less nimble to respond. In fact, you're more nimble because you can very easily figure out if it's something important for you according to your goals, or you could maybe it's time to change your goals. You know, so if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else, as they say. So once you have this, so the goal is not something that I've learned pretty early. Is a goal can actually be a container for everything else that you do. So you can attach files to a goal. It can be your CRM, contacts. You can send an email. You can search. A goal can have, a place for putting notes in. So when I work on projects in my company, I put notes everywhere. When I do some programming, or finding something, how to fix something on a server, I put all kinds of links. So when I go back, it's fully searchable. It's full text search. So I can go, 10 years later, I can go back and see exactly what I did back then, to kind of remind me in case I need to do something similar. I use it all the time. So that's a knowledge management system. You can basically, so I created, in fact, if you want, I could show you. Yeah, we'll look at that later. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but this is my goal management system. So let's see. Oops. Takes a while to load. I have a bunch of goals that are unstructured yet. Let's see what comes up with. So as you see here, yeah, it's something we cobbled together a while back. Yeah. So for example, I have a bunch of corporate goals, right? So when I click here, it expands. So this is 10 years goal, right? You go, it expands 5 years and so on. And then when you go, this is a goal. Okay, maybe not a good goal to pick. Okay, let's drill down to this talk, right? So I have, okay, let's see if we can find the goal that's responsible. So everything I do is a goal. Giving this presentation is a goal. So let's see if we can find it, all right? So the way I put it, it's actually under business trips, North American business trips. It was more relevant a couple years ago, 5 years ago when I lived in Germany, but I'm back here on more permanent basis. There we go, Silicon Valley Code Camp, right? So this was the event under and then conduct presentation. There we go. So submit session, update the slide. This is something I was working on yesterday. Those are all the notes, all the stuff that we talked about, right? So this becomes, and these are, the slides themselves. I can go, look at statistics, how much time I spent. So I spent almost 4 hours updating the slide yesterday. That's got to count for something. And then I'm conducting presentation. There's another thing I didn't mention, is the goal is a time logging. Very easy to do. Once you have goals, all you have to do is put a little button. Click on the button, and it says I'm working on this goal. And I start working 10:19. Sometimes I forget to put it in the right, but that's a good time. So this is my time log. So that's another point for you to kind of go and at the end of the day, you can analyze. Not only you can plan for the next day, what are you going to do the next day, tomorrow, but you can actually go back and see what you've done. How can you improve? What you've done this day. Where you wasted time, right? Or what could be done better. So yeah, and then for example, I have all these, and interestingly enough, all these goals that so I'm a bit of a, maybe I'm overdoing this a little bit, but I have goals in each one of these areas. And I actually have goals for, exercise or breakfast. So if I go exercise, this is just another goal, and I can go statistics. I can see how much time I spent exercising. Let's see, it loads. And I've been tracking it since 2010, so. There we go, okay. Quite a bit, okay, so I spent 1,210 hours and 50 minutes and 1 second exercising, 31 minutes on average. Yeah, 2,281 times. Anyway, so you can do a bunch of really cool stuff with this. All right, any questions? Yes?
So, as a result of this process, do you feel that you are more productive and happier in your life in general?
I think so. The tricky thing though is the more organized you become, you feel like you can take on more stuff. So it's sort of like the U.S. dependence on oil. It kind of stays. We have a lot more cars. We have 3 times as many cars as we had in the 50s or 60s, but our oil consumption kind of remains on the same level. So I feel it very similar.
How do you track how much time you're spending updating your time?
You've
got like 4-minute items in there where you mark the start and the finish.
Right.
That seems like a significant percentage of the time is updating your time. So maybe you could improve your productivity by not updating your time all the time.
You mean morning routine, right?
Automate.
Sure. Well, it's not. It takes one. So no, I don't think that counts as updating.
Recording exercise, it's not automated.
Okay, so the way.
But I guess you could. I mean,
Yeah, the time logging is not exactly the part of this talk, but so the way it works, at least in this system, is when you start a new task or you start work a new goal, you click on that button. I work on this goal. It closes the previous time log, and then it starts a new one. So all you have to do is just click one button, find the goal you want to work on, click on that button, and the previous goal will automatically close. The time log for that goal will automatically close.
So can we update we have a daily routine task? So is there any way we can have a routine task and at the end of each day we can say that all the tasks are done or not? Is there any way we can do that?
No, because you don't know how much time you spent. And maybe it's a very similar task, but you have to click start every time you want to work on. Every time you switch to a new task. At least in this system, you have to start click on that button, work on this task, and it starts the new task. Closes the previous task automatically. So I wouldn't say, I don't know, maybe it takes 5 minutes a day, finding, and I would argue that the act of actively thinking about what you want to do actually keeps you on track. If you start watching TV, in fact, if you have this mental, it takes a while to develop, but once you have this mental sort of attitude that you don't do anything until you go here first, and then you see what do you want to do, does it fit, can you find a goal for that? It actually gives you some time to think whether it's worth doing that task. Watching TV, right? I have a task for watching TV here.
Because I actually usually organize the spreadsheet to manage my everyday tasks or goals.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out what the benefits I get when you use this application.
With a spreadsheet, yes, there are different approaches. The classic approach will give you a time log sheet or spreadsheet, right? And then it's maybe subdivided into 15 minutes or 30 minutes intervals, right? And then you write down what you're working on at that time. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's less, it's a lot less powerful because here you already have all the goals set up. All you have to do is click. There you have to write, what you're working on. In fact, yeah.
So I understand the concept of goal management and specifying all your goals and then breaking them down and then really tracking to it. But then
Right.
how do you correlate that to sort of your time management in terms of, say, tomorrow's a new day.
Right.
you're not specifying everything you're only tracking. After you spend some time looking at your goals, what's your A priorities, then I assume you're gonna plan your day accordingly, and then sort of pick and choose the different tasks that you want.
So, yeah, this is, I didn't plan to spend as much time on this software, but, okay, so this area is a to-do list, sort of, that's automatically compiled based on my, goals here, oops. On that goal tree, right, structure. And this is a little overwhelming, but ideally that's what you would use to look like your top priority, A goals. Yeah, so that
Okay, so you sort of see this queue of organized by priority, and then you're sort of just trying to attack each one in terms of priority wise.
Right. These were, by the way, you see 2012. I put a bunch of goals that was not. I was not very careful about setting the priorities. That's why I see. So that's not, it is a bit of a contradiction from what I said before. 15% of A priority goals. I have a lot more, but that's don't do as I do. Do as I say. Don't do as I do. Anyway, yeah, those are pretty old goals. I try to keep 15-20% max. Anyway, yeah, so this automatically would generate the to-do list for you every day. In fact, every day you come back and say, this is daily goals, near term, and then you can, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. All right.
So I see you have the T11, I assume it's delegated to you, have tasks delegated to other.
Yes, that's, actually we talked about this, delegated. This is pretty powerful because I can check, what I have delegated to this guy, for example, in the corporate world. That's the, and how they're doing, and the power of this, for example, I can go there and click and see all the nodes. In fact, I can, there was one task we were working on right now. Okay, so this is used also as a communication between developers. You can put any nodes your developers can write, or whoever you delegate to, they can write here and so on. So this, as I said, becomes knowledge management. Anyway, all right, let's go back. So track and correlate. Yeah, so once you have that information, you can very easily correlate not only between the goals, but also between your productivity, for example. You can track how much time, how productive you are, that is how many goals you are able to achieve in a given amount of time. Project manager, yes, so we talked about this. Let's dive a little bit. Let's see what time is now. Sorry, time anybody?
10:30.
10:30. And we are supposed to finish when? 10:40. So we have about half an hour? Yeah, okay, very good. So we should be done about 15 minutes, and then we'll have a little longer Q&A. Let's see. Yeah, let's jump into. Actually, before we go, any other questions? Sorry, maybe I brushed off. Yes.
I guess two things just really quickly. One is that it looks like it's customizable, so you can do as much detail or with detail as you want, right?
Absolutely.
And the second thing is, just knowing myself, I know there's times when I'm just going to rebel against having a system like this, although I think it's a great system, it would help me a lot, but there'd be some evenings, for example, where I just say,
Sure.
screw the time management, I'm going to go contemplate my navel for 3 hours.
Write it down as a task.
Yeah, right
No,
on.
I don't want that. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
It does seem like this sort of, meta goal of all this is to improve productivity. And
Improve
if that's not your goal,
yeah.
then this is not your system.
Well,
And
improve.
I think there are parts of people's lives where the goal is not to
To improve.
productivity.
Good
I didn't get
point.
that from that at all. I think that could be your goal, but this is also a way to just facilitate your life so you're less stressed or,
Right.
I mean, maybe you're also as a side effect improving productivity, but.
I mean, you must hear this a lot, that, this applies very, directly and easily to professional life, but less so to personal life. What's your response to that? I mean, obviously you disagree.
You can see the improvements in professional life a lot quicker, I think.
Yeah.
Or you can measure, you can track them more by, you get better job or you get a pay increase and so on. Personal life probably harder to quantify, but I don't see why not. If you apply the same principles. In fact, the reason I kind of started working on this is I realized that the same rules apply to your health goals as they are for your corporate goals, or and if you have one system, why not apply it? In fact, I would argue that the very important thing is to be able to compare all your goal types and see them in one place, so you can see if there's any conflicts. Maybe your career goal, maybe the corporate goals conflict with your career goals, or your health goals. Maybe the corporate goals, need you to sit, have some night shifts, which conflict with your health goals, which says you have to get an 8-hour sleep, normal sleep, right? So that allows you to really get an overview of whole. That's why it's called total life management. Total, not just one aspect. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these business tools, that they tend to focus on the business aspect of things without. And if you don't have, your personally your health goals in check, you're probably not going to be the most productive person in the office, right? So it's important to look at this as the whole. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. All right. Anybody else? And yes, and in fact, there was something else I wanted to discuss. The stress. I think you mentioned the stress factor, that once you have the thing written down, GDD, getting things done. Whoever I forgot the name of the guy who kind of introduced the whole thing. He's
something.
Right. Yeah. He basically says the reason we have a lot of stress in our life, one of the big reasons, is that we use our brain as a storage device, which it's really not meant to be as a storage, right? A very lousy storage, you lose stuff all the time, and you cannot.
And it gets worse all the time.
Exactly, it deteriorates, and there's no way you can upgrade it. So not yet. And in fact, just the notion of keeping whole. You remember, somebody told you something very important. You don't write it down. You think you'll remember. You keep the action of keeping it. It's very stressful to actively think about remembering stuff. And if you have like more than 5 things, it becomes very stressful. If you have so that's why they say that getting things done. They say the first step is, in fact, write everything down, and then you organize. So to have everything in your, in some sort of system, it's written. Paper is better than nothing, right? Paper is probably the worst you can use, but it's still better than nothing. So write everything down, some sort of system, then organize, so your brain doesn't have to remember, keep things in its active memory, because brain is like a RAM. Yeah.
There's some statistic, I don't remember what the number is, but it's like 4 times as likely to actually succeed and accomplish your goal if it's written down.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's it.
I could support the idea too, that once you write it down, there's less stress.
Yeah. Because your brain has now, freed those resources to focus on accomplishing a goal. So you can focus on one thing and you can rest assured that your other stuff is there. In fact, that's why I have the system. It's a web-based system, so I can access it from anywhere, from the phone, from as long as having write things down. So that's very, very powerful. And I want to mention something about getting things done. That's going to be one thing about getting things done. I think I missed that before. They start with like writing things down and then organizing and then kind of working, sifting, filtering it out, right? How many of you guys worked with getting things done? Okay, yes. that, would you say that's the kind of the first step?
I really loved it. I had a ceiling fan that was wobbling.
Okay.
And my ceiling got blown in insulation. I said, no way do I want to go there at all, period.
Right.
Getting things done says, we'll take that task and write it down, tiny little pieces. Look at the first piece, which is go to the garage and get the ladder.
Right.
You can do that.
Yeah.
It's not hard. So I
Right.
went to the garage, got the ladder. And I did. Just tiny little pieces.
Step by step.
Got
Yeah,
the
very good.
control.
Yeah. So as great as getting things done is, I would say they don't start early enough. And what I mean by that is there are a few steps you can do before dumping all your brain content onto some system. I would say start with your long-term goals and see and build that structure and see if that, and then try to fit whatever you have in your brain into that structure. So build that structure based on what you have in your long-term goals, and then sort of create this the goal tree structure already. Because if you just dump everything on the paper, you may find that you work on things that don't really contribute into your long-term goals. So they shouldn't really, maybe that ceiling fan, to follow the exam, maybe you really shouldn't, maybe you should pay somebody to fix it, or you should move to a new place, or, maybe your long-term goal is to go to Hawaii anyway, see why, always.
Well, I had like really big life goals to meet somebody, get a good job, get a second house.
Right.
And I'm moving on those two.
Right. So that's all I had to say about. All right. So a little bit of a project management. This is kind of a side, if you don't mind. We'll take a few minutes on this. So if you think about it, corporate project management is in fact a subset of total life management. We talk, if you agree with the premise that project management usually deals with corporate goals, and corporate goals are just one of the 8 goal types, right? So it's really a corporate subset. And if you do project management, and I think it applies to pretty much any goals, when you have a lot of you, how many of you actually work with a team? Team could be like 2 people, 3 people and above. Yes, wow, quite a few. Wow, okay, very good. So a little gem for you. So how many of you have heard of 4 cornerstones of a project before? Nobody? Really? Wow. Okay. So who said we'll put a man on the moon by the end of the decade? John F. Kennedy. Yes. So there were a couple of attributes to the goal, right? The goal would be so the 4 cornerstones is time, budget, target, and so on. So the target would be put a man on the moon, right? The time would be deadline by the end of that decade. So what is what's the point? Why are we doing this? What's the meaning? And the meaning for, why did we put a man on the moon by the end of that decade? What was the point? I mean, okay, so we got some space rocks.